Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today's the last day of the month, so it is time to play my TBR game called Books Against Humanity to determine which books I'm going to be reading in the month of December. This game looks like this, and the back has the rules, and it is loosely based off Cards Against Humanity, so I'll have two packs of cards in there. One is yellow and the other one is turquoise, and one of them is basically question cards which have gaps in them, blanks, and the other one is answer cards which fill in the gaps. Whenever I have a pair that works, that becomes my prompt, and I pick a book based off that prompt. I usually tend to give myself a hand of 4 or 5 cards depending on how much I think I'm going to be able to read during the month, but I have some books I need to finish off first of all. So first let me go through the books I did read in the month of November. So in November I ended up reading a total of 8 books. The first one that I read was The Man Who Died Twice by Richard Osman, and I ended up rating it 5 stars, one of my favourite of this year. Then I read Nothing But Blackened Teeth, and that's a novella, quite short, and I really hated it. I rated it 1 star. The third book that I read in the month of November was Into the Drowning Deep by Mira Grant, and I rated it 4 stars. This was a horror adult novel with killing mermaids basically, and I really liked it. Then I read The Hunting Wives by May Cobb and rated it 2 stars, which, thinking back on that, I feel like that was actually quite generous because I really did not like that main character or that book. This was an adult thriller and it was meant to be a normal thriller, but it felt a lot more like a psychological thriller and I just really didn't like it. Then I read Rogue Protocol, which is the 3rd book in the Murderbot Diaries. It's also a novella and I rated it 5 stars. This was a little bit of a guilty pleasure because I knew I was going to enjoy this and I just needed a palate cleanser after reading The Hunting Wives. Then afterwards I finished listening to the audiobook of How to Solve a Murder, True Stories from Life in Forensics Medicine, and this was written by Derek and Pauline Tremaine, a couple, and I rated it 3 stars. It was okay, but kind of felt like it lacked a general storyline. Then afterwards I read Rules for Vanishing by Kate Marshall Alice, and I really enjoyed this one. I rated it 4 stars. This was a horror YA novel with ghost stories, and it was really, really fun and spooky. Just the perfect horror vibes. And then finally, I just now, literally an hour ago, finished reading Dune by Frank Herbert, and I rated it 4 stars. Really enjoyed myself. Loved the movie as well, but didn't like the portrayal of one of the characters. But yeah, overall enjoyed myself in this sci-fi. Then the other 2 books I was meant to be reading this month were actually The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet by Becky Chambers, and I have read half of it, so I have only like 200 pages left of this book. I am enjoying it and I do plan on finishing it, so don't worry, this is going to be happening in the month of December. And then the other one I was meant to be reading was Certain Dark Things by Silvia Moreno Garcia. This is adult urban fantasy with vampires, I believe, but it's by one of my favorite authors who has written in very different genres before, so I have no idea what to expect. And it's only 250 pages, I think, something like that. Yeah, 250 pages, so I could easily read this. I just couldn't manage to fit it in at the end of my TBR in the month, just because I was actually reading Dune and that was not planned originally, so it took a little bit more time than I thought it would. So these 2 are gonna happen in the month of December. And then the last book I need to fit into my December TBR is Ace of Spades by Farida Abikeyimide. I hope I am pronouncing this right. And basically I have absolutely no fucking clue what this is about, but I read a lot of good things about it. I've seen a lot of good things about it. Everyone was talking about this book. And I think when I bought it, I did read the synopsis and I was like, oh, that sounds cool. But since then I have completely forgotten. Welcome to Niveau's Private Academy, where money paves the hallways and the students are never less than perfect. Until now, because anonymous texter Aces is bringing 2 students' dark secrets to light. Talented musician Devon buries himself in rehearsals, but he can't escape the spotlight when his private photos go public. Head girl Chiamaka isn't afraid to get what she wants, but soon everyone will know the price she has paid for power. Someone is out to get them both, someone who holds all the aces, and they're planning much more than a high school game. An incendiary and utterly compelling thriller with a shocking twist that delves deep into the heart of institutionalized racism. So I'm expecting a little bit of Gossip Girl vibes from the synopsis, and I don't know whether I'm right or not at all, but it sounds like fun. There is also another book that I need to read, which is To Sleep in a Sea of Stars, because I feel like I should finish it this year. I only have like 200 or 300 pages left of this behemoth, because it's like 800 to 900 pages long, and I can do it. I can definitely do it. Also, it's on my Kindle, so I could easily read it when I'm on holiday at home with my parents for Christmas, so maybe that's what I'm gonna be doing. So I've already got quite a few books to finish off, but I still want to play my little game as usual. So I am gonna give myself a hand of 4 cards, and it will remain at that. And if I can't finish them all, I just can't finish them all. So first let me shuffle my cards. My question cards. Now let's give myself 4 cards. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Here are my 4 cards I have owned for the longest time. I freaking hate this card every single time I get it, but whatever, I might not be able to use it anyway. Then has a title in 1 word. Is set in the past. And then finally, I do not own physically yet, so a book that I have maybe on my Kindle and that I want to buy in physical format, or a book that's on my TBRs and like I really want to buy it but I haven't bought it yet, which I do have some on my wish list. Let's pick my first question card. This is my first one. It's a wild card. I'm just gonna skip that because I'm not doing wild cards this year because I am giving myself such a small hand every single time. Next one, a mood read, same thing. I don't know what the fuck is going on. I feel like my TBR game is telling me, the universe is telling me, you need to just mood read. No, again, I'm not gonna do that because I am trying to actually give myself prompts since I already have a few other books that are part of my TBR anyway. Next one, a story which I think a story that is set in the past is the only one that really fits in there. So this is gonna have to be my prompt. Okay, so I have 3 contenders for this prompt. All 3 of these books are, I believe, set in the past. The first one is Dead Dead Girls by Nikisa Afia, and this is happening in Harlem, 1926, and I believe that this is a thriller. Then the other one is Mary Jane by Jessica Anya Blow, and I think, yeah, this is happening in the 1970s in Baltimore, and it says here Almost Famous meets Daisy Jones and the Six, and that it is something about a famous rock star, his movie star wife for the summer, etc. So it sounds quite fun and light, I want to say. I don't know whether it would be, but I liked the cover as well because it did generally remind me of Daisy Jones and the Six and those kind of vibes, so I did want to read this one as well. And finally I have Magic Lessons by Elise Hoffman, and this is the prequel to Practical Magic and the other books in that series, and basically Magic Lessons is the origin of the Owens family, it's a family of witches, and basically in the 1600s, I think it is. Yeah, this is in the 1600s. Hannah Owens, the main character, is abandoned by the man that she loves and decides to invoke a curse that's gonna haunt her family for centuries. And this has to do with magic, but I feel like when I read Practical Magic, the magical aspect of it was extremely subtle, and then the other book in the series that has to do with the aunts from Practical Magic and their youth was a little bit more into the magical stuff. Like there was a little bit more of it, but it remains quite a subtle element, and I'd say these books are more into magical realism than they're into actual supernatural. So I don't really know if I want to read this right now because I feel like my mood would be more towards actual magic than magical realism. Okay, I'm gonna make things easy for myself just because I have so many other books on my TBR already. So I'm gonna pick Mary Jane. The reason why is it's only 300 pages and it's written quite big. The font in there feels quite big and spacious, so I feel like it'll be a quicker read and it just sounds fun. So I think I'm gonna enjoy myself reading this one. I now need to replace my answer card. My new answer card to replace the previous one has something shiny on it. And my new question card is, it's a wild card again, a genre which I actually don't know whether this is going to work with anything. It doesn't actually work with anything. Oh, this is annoying. So I think I'm going to have to replace my whole hand because this is the rule. If I want to change one card, I have to actually change all of my cards, replace my entire hand. And then I need to use it at least once before swapping it again. So I'm gonna swap my hand for a new one. 1, 2, 3, and 4 cards. I don't think that this really works with Jean either, but we're gonna make it work. My first one is considered a classic. My second card starts with the letter and then I have to randomize it. Then I pick at random from my physical bookshelves with randomized number. And then finally I ask a friend to pick out of 5. Maybe if I just pick a bunch of genres and I could then put them in a wheel, a randomizer wheel, and then select it. I feel like this is the best way we could go around this. Okay, I'm gonna find a randomizer wheel. Pick a wheel, maybe? Yes, and then I can input whatever I want. So I think that's what I'm gonna do. Let's see what drawers I have on my shelves and put these in. So I have all of my different genres in my picker wheel. I'm also recording my screen, so I'll probably just put my screen up. And now let's spin the wheel. It's an awful sound. Sci-fi. Fuck's sake. I'm not unhappy about it. The only reason I'm slightly unhappy about it is because I just finished reading Dune and I'm currently reading another sci-fi book, and I was like, I need a break from sci-fi. But I could just pick one of my novellas and then that would actually go quite easily and fast. So maybe it's good in the end. So technically the prompt I'm using is a genre, that, and then randomize. I think I'm gonna be kind to myself and do exactly as I said and pick the next book in the Murderbot Diaries. I mean, I'm enjoying this series so freaking much, and I just know this is going to be a comfort read for me. Every single time I pick one of these books, it is a comfort read. So this one is Exit Strategy, and it's the 4th one in the series, and I'm going to be reading this one. So let me replace that card. My new card is I think a friend would enjoy. My new question is an adult novel that which, okay, so I just have a category which is easy, and then an adult novel that I think a friend would enjoy would work, or that I ask a friend to pick out of 5, or that I pick at random from my physical bookshelves with a randomized number, or that is considered a classic. Literally all of those would work with that question. Do I have any that would be considered a classic? Because I maybe do. Okay, I am gonna be picking this prompt, an adult novel that which is considered a classic. And to go with that prompt, I'm gonna pick an Agatha Christie. I'm gonna be reading Death on the Nile. So I've owned a bunch of these beautiful cloth-bound editions for a while now, and I'm pretty sure I have read Death on the Nile a long time ago, and I just don't remember it. But I might be wrong. I just know that I read a while ago a few of the Agatha Christie's that I own at the time, and it's been so long, and I actually really just don't remember whether I've read this one, which is terrible. So I only need to replace my cards one more time. New card from the pack. Starts with one of my initials. Oof, okay, so I need to have a book that will start with either M or A, unless it's an author question. Let's get a new card, question card, a thriller that which. Okay, so my last book is going to be a thriller. So it could be a thriller that I pick at random from my physical bookshelves, that I think a friend would enjoy, that I ask a friend to pick out of 5, or that starts with one of my initials. I feel like the I ask a friend to pick out of 5 is always a fun one, so I'm going to be doing that. I'm going to check who's available right now. Oh yeah, and this is the prompt. Okay, I've got a selection. So the first one I've put before on one of those, and it was picked and I ended up never reading it. It is The Turn of the Key by Ruth Ware, and I think this has to do with a nanny who finds herself in prison, and I think it starts with her writing a letter from prison to say she's innocent, and I think the kids died or something, and I don't remember what else, but that's pretty much the gist of it. Then the next one is If I Disappear by Eliza Jane Brazier, and I believe this one has to do with a podcast, and that's pretty much all I remember. When her favourite true crime podcast host goes missing, an adrift young woman sets out to investigate and plunges headfirst into the wild backcountry of Northern California and her own dangerous obsession. That's about it. Then the other one I've got is Death and Croissant, and I'm very excited to read this one. And this one is basically a cozy murder. I still think it counts as thriller, but technically it's cozy. It's not like hardcore murder, hardcore thriller style. And I think it's about... And I think this is about just a B&B owner in France. He's English and he owns a B&B in France, and one of his guests disappears and there's like a bloody handprint left, and that's all that he finds. So mystery / thriller, we'll see. I also have this one, Murder on Mystique. I bought this last year, like a year ago I think, because it was in December, and I just remember buying it mostly for the cover, but I think this is basically a murder mystery happening on an island. That's all I know about this. And then finally I have The Other Black Girl, which is a signed edition. I need to take out the sticker because I don't like stickers, but basically I think this is maybe more of a psychological thriller / horror, I'm not sure, but I think this has to do with a girl who's the only black girl in her office, and then another one arrives the first time there's another black girl in her office, and everyone seems to think after an incident that our main character is like enemy number one, and that the other black girl is the darling of the office. And then our main character starts getting notes saying to her, you need to leave, or something like that. Yeah, I think it says, leave Wagner now. So that's all I know, but it sounds exciting and I'd like to read it as well. So my friend's not answering, so I think I'm gonna ask my partner just because of ease and timing, because it's actually like close to 10 p.m. and I think most people are busy or potentially already heading to bed, I don't know. But yeah, I'm just gonna make my life easier and ask my partner. We have chosen a book, so my partner decided to pick Death and Croissant based off the synopsis and also the colours of the cover. This is the one that he liked the most. Both this one and Murder on Mystique were his favourites, and then he was like, out of the two, this one is definitely the main one he would like me to read. So this is the one that I'm going to be reading. Quite happy because it's a recent purchase and also it's less than 300 pages, so it would fit quite nicely onto this bigger TBR for the month of December. But not to forget this one, which I need to finish. I have read this much, so I only have a little bit here, but a little bit is still 300 pages, I think, so it's technically the size of a lot of the books I have on my TBR right now. So let me show you this pile. I don't know if I'm gonna manage this. I feel like I'm setting myself up for failure here, but this is everything I said I would read in the month of December. Oh my god, I can't even lift it properly without hurting. Okay, so technically this is a collection of 8 books, but not all of them I have to read in their entirety. For instance, To Sleep in a Sea of Stars, I only have 300 pages left out of the 900. I do need to read Certain Dark Things, which is 250 pages, so it should be fine. Then Mary Jane, then Exit Strategy, which is a novella, so quite short, so should be okay. Then Death on the Nile, Death and Croissant. I have 2 books that have the word death in them, didn't even realize this. Then I also have Ace of Spades, which the reason why I need to read it is because it's part of my book club with my friends that we've decided we would read this one. And then finally The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet, which I only have 200 pages left of because I've read halfway through. This is a lot and I don't know how I'm gonna do, but I will do my best and I will keep you guys updated. So at the moment what I've been doing is doing a 2 weeks long vlog, so that's probably what I'll be doing as well here, where I just tell you everything that I'm reading instead of doing themed vlogs, because I feel like that just works better for me and my schedule and my motivation, so I tend to actually do it rather than when I try to do themed vlogs. Sometimes I'm like, I really don't want to read another book in that category or in that genre, whatever, and I end up not finishing those videos. So I feel like this is better for me and my content. So this is probably what you'll get. I'll probably do 2 separate vlogs, the first half of December and then the second half of December, and I will keep you guys updated. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like, leave a comment as well. I always try to respond. Consider subscribing, ring that bell, all that jazz, and we'll see you guys in the next one.